Hi everyone, my name is Patrick Smith. I'm a VP of Engineering at Xero. I'm located out of the Greater Toronto area and I oversee our engineering teams based out of Toronto, focused on our HubDoc product, as well as some of our core Xero functionality that we develop out of the Toronto office. I joined Xero back in August of 2018 off the back of the HubDoc acquisition. And I joined HubDoc 1 week after Xero had acquired HubDoc. And so I've technically been a Xero for my entire tenure here, though joining off of the back of the acquisition. I've lived in the Greater Toronto area for my entire life, and I've been a part of the Toronto tech scene my entire professional career. And what I really love about the Toronto tech scene is really the amazing people worldwide that are sort of drawn to Toronto that end up at we have a number of tech schools based in the Greater Toronto area, and it attracts a really just incredible diverse group of people from all around the world coming to Toronto to study and work. And that has really helped a thriving Toronto tech startup scene, as well as a lot of established companies coming and building a Canadian base right here in Toronto. And all of that together really makes just a fantastic tech scene to be part of. I'm here chatting today with my colleague, Rebecca Pardo, about some of what it's like to be a Xero in Toronto. Hey, Rebecca, how are you doing today? Tell us a little bit about your professional journey and what eventually brought you here to Xero.
Hi, Patrick. Thanks. As Patrick said, I'm Rebecca. I'm the research director for the small business accounting division at Xero, and I've been at Xero for about 8 months. I started my career as an academic. So I have a PhD in anthropology, and as part of that, I did 14 months of fieldwork at MTV Canada, studying how TV producers use and interpret different types of data about their audiences to make decisions. Since then, I've been working doing research in a variety of industry contexts, including in consulting and in product organizations. And I was reflecting on it and thinking that now I sort of find myself in the position of those producers. And my job really doing research for product is kind of helping teams interpret different types of data and insights in order to make decisions about what they build and how they build it. After 2 decades of moving back and forth between the US and Canada, I moved back to Toronto a couple of years ago, and I'm really happy to be back. Toronto is my hometown and my favorite city. I work remotely, and most of my team is working remotely right now with the option to go into the office in cities where that's possible right now. For me, it's really nice to have the flexibility of being able to work from home and have my dogs snuggled next to me, and then also be able to see my colleagues in person and work with them in person sometimes. Patrick, how are you working these days?
I'm currently working remotely, and I think that the past 2 years have really been pretty eye-opening in terms of the way that work is going to be changing. I have a young daughter at home, and I think that the experience of what this has meant for my work-life balance has been pretty tremendous, being able to be here and see her so much more than I would if I was going to the office. Xero has a flexible working policy, and we often talk about building your best workday at Xero. And that means different things for different people. Some people really excel when they're in the office environment. Some people, um, they need to be in the office for whatever reason in their personal lives or what works best for them. Some people are going fully remote. Some people are going in office. And right now for me, what's working best for me is being fully remote, and I'll continue to do that for some time, for the foreseeable future, and I'll see really what ends up working best for me. Though I do miss so much about being in the office with the team, for where I am right now in my life and the needs of my family, being remote is really what is doing it for me. When it comes to talking about things like building your best workday, I do think though that it goes beyond where you're working. It really comes to how do we unlock our teams to really be engaged, be the happiest that they can be, and be really excited about the work that they're doing. And the breadth of opportunity that we have when joining Xero, especially in Toronto, where Xero is committed to building Toronto as the North American product and tech hub, um, it really speaks to the sheer caliber of people that we have, not just in Toronto, but across Canada when we look at remote roles. And so the amount of opportunity that we have to make an impact and make a difference to our customers is really fantastic here. And when I think back to when I was an engineer, and a lot of engineers that I know, really what they're looking for are sort of the answers to three questions. And it's, um, are they going to be working on products or features that people are going to use? Are they going to be working on things that people um, really like and that kind of changes their lives for the better? And are they going to be working with people that they really want to be spending a lot of time with? And I really think that for Xero as a whole, and especially within the Toronto office, we're really able to deliver on a lot of those things for the Xeros that we're bringing on board in Toronto and across Canada. When you were joining Xero, Rebecca, did you ask yourself those three questions, or were there other elements that were really drawing you towards Xero?
Yeah, it's funny. I think those are great three questions to ask. For me, what I found is every time I'm looking for a new role, I sort of think about what I want to prioritize at that time, and that can change throughout my life and career. That's changed, and this time I was really invested in and prioritizing a company with a healthy, supportive culture. I think in Toronto, there's a real appetite in the tech scene to be kind of working with homegrown companies. And for me, I found that Xero's culture, which I think in large part is attributable to the Kiwi influence, really kind of resonated with my Canadian sensibilities. I think we have a lot in common. And what really struck me was like interpersonally at Xero, there's a real sense of authentic compassion between people, a sense of community, a sense of inclusion. I think a lot of organizations have explicitly articulated values around, being people first and human centered. But I had a friend and former colleague who worked at Xero who told me about the company, who really kind of adamantly told me about how Xero walks the walk. And that was borne out for me right away when I joined. I saw that to be true. On my first day, I had a conversation with the research manager who was kind of giving me a download on a couple of her team members that were going to be reporting into me now instead of to her. And I went into that conversation expecting that we'd be talking about like performance and career things and where that person was at. And there was a little bit of that, but really most of the conversation, almost all of it, was about her kind of giving me the context about these people, to make sure that I would be able to care for them and support them like as human beings, and in addition to as employees. So that means things like giving me information about like cultural context and styles of communication and things I might not have been aware of people's different cultural backgrounds, and really kind of taking care to make sure that they would be, not only like productive and working well, but happy and supported. That really touched me.
How have you seen that play out now that you've been a Xero for the past 8 months? Does what you heard, does it still resonate, or what you originally saw?
This is certainly the case on the research team. It's been really heartening to see how collaborative the team is, how supportive they are of each other. In addition to that, there's an energy that is really vibrant. I find there's a lot of energy on the team for things like just pushing more innovative methodologies, skill sharing, leveling up on approaches, and finding new ways to conduct and share research that are inspiring. And I think the team really kind of pushes each other, but in a very supportive way.
I think on the cultural element and like the alignment that you were talking about in terms of aligning with, I guess, Canadian sensibilities. I think for me, reflecting on that, I've not really been a part of an organization of this scale where that sort of human element has been able to be maintained as the company is able to scale. You mentioned, the Kiwi roots and the sort of value alignment there. And it's what I end up seeing, not just within, say, product and engineering, but with any group that I end up working within or working with within Xero. That ends up really tying into, say, the engineering culture, which really ladders up into some really great values that Xero has. And the engineering culture really does mirror like kindness and empathy, supporting of one another and learning from mistakes, driving through and being able to, as I mentioned earlier, building your best day. And one of the things that I'm quite proud of that we had built out of Toronto and are now rolling out across North America is focusing on getting some more structured mentorship for some of our team. I think that when we were all in the office, there was a lot of mentorship that sort of happened ad hoc at people's desks. Cross-team communication was much easier there. And so we rolled out a program. We were really trying to get some cross-team collaboration going and really helping people focus on their growth. And now rolling that out across the rest of our North American teams means that we have an opportunity to build a much stronger engineering culture within North America. At least that's the hope, that we're able to build a really strong Xero North American tech culture. Um, and I think that what really ends up differentiating Xero to me is that focus on people. It is the empathy, and it's something that I see, like I said, across every organization I work with, across every person that I work with. And I think that it just makes it a pretty fantastic place to be.
For me, leadership has really stuck out as Xero, because I think if you want to see the real values of a company, I always look at how do leadership behave, because that really shows me like what are the characteristics of the people who are being promoted and who are being sort of chosen to drive the direction of the work and of the culture. And a moment that stuck out to me was I was in the first time I went to a product review where product teams were presenting their work to our head of product, Anna Corzon, and talking about progress against milestones and all that, and plans, moving forward, and she was giving them feedback and everything. And I was really just struck by the tone that Anna set, which was from the outset, it felt very warm. It felt very much like, yes, we're talking about progress and goals and everything, but it didn't feel like, you're sort of have to pass a test or defend yourself, or this sort of like fraught feeling. It really felt like a team having a conversation and trying to kind of problem solve together and, reflect on, okay, well, here's the progress we made before, and here's our plan moving forward, and how we thought about this, and we might consider this and that. And it really just gives you a feeling that everyone is there to be on the same team. And that, I think, can for that to be the case, I think, like, even coming from such senior leadership is pretty rare at an organization of this scale.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that meeting with Anna Curzon, actually, Rebecca, because I was in that meeting with you, and I think it was both of us our first meeting doing a review of that kind. And I went away from that meeting feeling a very similar thing in terms of how Anna had engaged with the team and really been along for the discussion. What I would say is that for anybody watching who's curious to hear directly from our Chief Product Officer, Anna Curzon, we can put a link below to some videos that Anna has done in the past, so you can hear directly from her and see a little bit about what Rebecca and I see when we have an opportunity to work with her. If you are interested in learning more a little bit about Xero, or some career opportunities that we have both in Toronto, fully remote across Canada, or elsewhere in North America, check out our LinkedIn careers page, and you can learn more about roles that we have in design, engineering, and data. Thank you very much for joining me today, Rebecca.
It was great chatting with you.